Good evening, and welcome to the interactive Grimoire. Tonight's question, what is the crystal web? The crystal web is an energetic construct spanning 6 of the world's 7 continents and having literally hundreds of crystal access points around the globe. Created by the Karelian tradition to act as a magical amplification and communications network, the crystal web is certainly the largest such magical engine ever constructed. The idea of magical engines is nothing new. A magical engine is an artifact whose innate or manufactured attributes in and of themselves generate magical power, which can be accessed and controlled by the magician. Some such magical engines are simple, such as using magically sympathetic stones or metals to create artifacts for specific magical purposes, in the belief that these substances will help to focus the practitioner's energies toward the given purpose. A lapis-encrusted diadem for clairvoyant work, as an example, or a rose quartz and rhodonite wand for emotional healing. Others are more complex, such as the Tibetan prayer wheel or the use of chimes in healing. Indeed, through the use of specific stones, metals, and magical geometry, whole temples have been created as magical amplifiers. Energetic constructs can serve the same purpose without necessarily involving physical artifacts at all. Such a magical engine is in effect a synthetic energy vortex of whatever size, called upon at will by the practitioner. The crystal web is a series of such vortices around the Earth, linked by energetic meridians, a kind of synthetic ley line network, which altogether form a single gigantic vortex. The individual crystal access points are used to input or extract energy from the system. None of these can handle more than a certain amount of energy going in or out at a time. The major crystal access centers are used to focus the overall energies of the web. The crystal web is used as a reservoir of energy, which can be called upon in need by individual Karelians or by the tradition as a whole. Such stored energy diffuses through the web more or less evenly, where it remains until used. This stored energy can be used as a battery to strengthen magical works when needed, supplying more energy than the individual practitioner might otherwise be able to raise. Moreover, the web not only acts as an energetic reservoir and battery, storing energy for later use, but as a dynamo that magnifies the energy stored in the system. This is because when all the crystal access points are opened and used, they serve to amplify one another. Just as when several people do magical work together, they tend to raise more energy than any one of them could raise alone, because they amplify each other's abilities, so too the crystal access points acting in concert not merely passively transmit, but actively increase the energy in and of themselves. Thus, while the web can be and is used by individuals for their own purposes, it is intended and more commonly used for mass rituals of the tradition as a whole, with large numbers of people focusing the energy at once. Such mass rituals are either held simultaneously around the globe, all at the same moment but at different clock times in different time zones, or in a sequential wave, the same clock time in all time zones moving sequentially around the planet over a 24-hour period. This allows for a huge number of people to work together at once over a large geographic expanse in a way which is utterly unprecedented. Tradition-wide rituals of this sort are used mainly for large-scale healing, or for group attunement to significant astrological events, or occasionally to inaugurate important new projects within the tradition. For most people, their primary point of interaction with the crystal web will be a personal crystal access point. There are also crystal access centers at some Karelian temples and crystal master centers connected to the Karel Mother Temple. From your access point, you can put energy into the crystal web and extract energy from the web. When not in use, the crystal access point enters a dormant state. To create a personal crystal access point, you will need a crystal and a place to bury it. The crystal should be one which feels right to you. The burying spot may be anywhere you choose, but must actually be in the earth. It is not necessary to have direct access to the buried crystal in order to use it in future workings, so feel free to use the backyard of an apartment or a public place like a park. Dig a hole in which to bury your crystal. A garden trowel will prove an excellent instrument for this, but any digging tool may be used. Depending upon the level of privacy, you may wish to use your athame, since this is a sacred act. The hole does not need to be large, but should be somewhat deep, so that the crystal will not be easily exposed by the elements or by digging animals. In this sense, the deeper the hole, the better. Now you are ready for the actual ritual. Dig your hole first so that this is done and ready. Begin by casting a circle. Since you will be out of doors and may not be burying your crystal in a private place, you may want it to be a very simple circle. You can do it entirely in your head, imagining the circle around you, then silently calling the quarters and imagining them as pillars of white light. You may invoke Goddess and God silently. They will still hear you. Of course, if you are in a more private place, or are comfortable being observed casting a circle, you may do the circle as elaborately as you choose. Hold your crystal in both hands. Above the crystal, imagine a three-dimensional tetrahedron of white light. Take a moment to imagine this fully. Then imagine the tetrahedron spinning clockwise. Become aware of your heart chakra. Imagine a ball of white light in the heart chakra, and when this is clear in your head, imagine sending a beam of green light from the heart chakra into the spinning tetrahedron. As the green light enters the tetrahedron, it will change its shape, becoming a cube, still spinning clockwise. Imagine this transformation fully. Fill the cube with green light from your heart chakra. Once the spinning cube is filled with green light, the flow will reverse, and green light will return from the cube to your heart. Imagine the green light filling your heart, then your chest, then your whole body, as well as the crystal held in your two hands. Let the crystal become full of this light, so that it is glowing with green light and shining out in all directions, like a green sun. Now place the crystal into the hole prepared for it, and cover it over with dirt. Place both hands directly over the now covered hole, and focus white light down into the earth and the buried crystal. Now charge the crystal to link into the crystal web. This may be spoken aloud or done silently. You might say something like, "O crystal, I charge you to link into the crystal web, becoming one with its energies." Now imagine a beam of white light coming from the crystal and shooting off in one direction or another, underground. This is the crystal linking into the web. You may or may not be able to see what direction the beam goes in, and this is all right. It's not imperative that you know just now. This will not be the only time you will use the crystal, and if you don't see exactly how it links in this time, you may next time. If you're good at visualization, however, you may find that you see not only the link created by your own crystal, but perhaps the whole web itself. Now that your crystal is linked, you are finished, and should take down your circle, then clear and release. To use this crystal in the future, follow these steps. Imagine the buried crystal within a cube of white light. Imagine the cube spinning clockwise. Focus a beam of energy from your heart into the cube, and imagine it changing into a tetrahedron, still spinning. The crystal will then be open and may be interacted with. When finished, allow the image to fade, and the access point will naturally return to a dormant state. This can be done from a distance. You do not need to actually be at the site where the crystal is buried. In working with the crystal web in the future, you may also create additional crystal access points like this one. It is perfectly appropriate to create many access points and use one or all to access the crystal web. The crystal constitutes your personal access point to the crystal web, but each crystal also serves to enlarge the crystal web and magnify the energy further. Thus, the more the better. This has been the Interactive Grimoire. Thank you, and have a good night.